It's Valentine's night at Happy Valley, a Wednesday night programme with 9 races on the card as well, which also sees the culmination of the Hong Kong Airlines Million Challenge as well. Telecom Brothers, it's in his hands if he can win it or not. It's the Happy Valley Trophy is our feature race as well. Fantastic card to look forward to. Paul Lally, our former analyst and race caller, Brett Davis, joining me in the studio. Brett, it's a bumper night at the Valley. It is. It's a night for Lovey and Dovey, apparently, Andrew, with, of course... That's what you introduced you to as Lovey and Dovey. Valentine's night, it will be then. So we're expecting a big crowd. There's some good races, 9 races on the card, as you mentioned, the Hong Kong Airlines Million Challenge finale, along with a very good support card. There's 2 Class 1s on the program and some good horses on show. Dovey, over to you.
I can just imagine it now. All these girls are going to be throwing the roses up at Brett, up in the commentary box there. But, yeah, looking forward to the race. There's no jackpots to speak of at all, but we do have a host of first starters, some real interesting ones as well.
It's going to be a long night for you, Andrew. Right, we've got a big programme, obviously, to get through. Before we look back, though, look forward to Happy Valley, let's look back on a big weekend at Sha Tin. All right, of course, it was Douglas White's final day in the saddle. We'll come back to that in due course. This was probably the pick of the action, though, Brad, and this was a real comeback from Lean Perfection. He's always been a talented horse. We mentioned it on Racing to Win prior to the day's racing itself, and we've done so previously already this season, Paul, based on his first prep where he won 3 out of 5. This was him getting back to his best.
Yeah, definitely, and he was really well backed as well. He was about $8 into 3.9, I think, by the end, and there was a lot of money for him. His first run, he was on the all-weather, and he was about 5 or 6 wide the whole way, and I thought it might have taken it out of him, but he's bounced back here. Yeah, a storm signal down on the inside. Probably pretty unlucky not to beat Douglas White's winner on the day.
Yeah, Douglas said after he felt that he probably would have won, but that's racing, isn't it? When you lose momentum, it's always difficult to overcome and get back to where you were, particularly when you're getting into the higher levels. But you can take nothing away from the connections of Lean Perfection. 4 wins now from 10. And Alexi Bedell has had a very good season. Of course, he'll ride Wednesday night and I think on the weekend and then he's done. So he's had a couple of little hiccups along the way, a lot of seconds, but he's starting to edge that back with a few winners now. Good run from Hitchin Love too in that race, I might add as well. He was 3 or 4 wide the whole way and he stayed on nicely. All right, so he got a whack, Lean Perfection. 5 for him, takes him up to 86. The big winners, I suppose, Nobody Love in again on the all-weather, and Kobe Opper was on the all-weather as well, 2 there for Frankie Law. Yep, and Prince of Gems was a really nice debutant, wasn't he, from a wide barrier getting across, and he looked very well educated, and 8 points for him on debut, so he's now into the bottom of Class 3. And Richmond, interesting too, because he's up to 91 rated, backing up this weekend, but he's now like locked into the Derby, isn't he? Yeah, with that win over the Derby distance of the 2,000 metres. They were the big winners on the weekend then. Let's see if we can find you some more with our horses to follow. All right, there's a few first starters on the programme. Paul, one caught your eye? Yeah, it did. This horse is by Savabeel and out of 42 below. So quite a well-bred horse. Over 1,200 metres. Looks a little bit short. And you can see he hit the line really nice in the black colours there, the yellow sort of cap, black and yellow striped cap. And he took a little while to get through the traffic, but once he got into the traffic, I thought he hit the line very strongly. Once he gets up to 1,400 even, I think a mile is going to be ideal for him. I thought it was a really good run. And he did manage to... The last bit here, this last 50 metres was very strong, I thought, and he did manage to get up for 3rd. Yeah, it was the 2 horses in front of him as well, both first starters, Prince of Gems and Mr. Croissant finishing in 2nd place. What did you find, Brett? I'm actually going to go back to Chinese New Year race day. Cool Team. This was 23, 24 to 1 early on. Smashed. It was probably one of the best backed runners on the day. Eventually started at 11 to 1. Was slow out of the gates and then really worked into the race nicely. We know this was a dead heat in the end between Key Witness and Prance Dragon, but just like the way he continued to find a former Hugo Palmer horse from the UK, he was very consistent there, and he spent a lot of time at Chun Fa, and we know where there's money, there's fire. So I thought that was a good run from him and worth following. All right, we'll keep an eye on him then. Cool Team. My horse, Uncle Steve. 2 reasons for showing this. 1, it was a really good run.
And second reason, this was Douglas White's final ride, and it was a beauty as well. From barrier 14, got down onto the fence, bit of white magic there. And just for a moment, when he angles out here, you think it's on. But that horse in front of him is right choice, and he's a really nice horse going places himself.
Yeah, it was a fabulous moment, wasn't it? There were a lot of people jumping out of their chairs at the 250, hoping that Douglas could go on and get it done. In the end, it wasn't to be, but it was really a marvellous day for Douglas White.
Some fun and games earlier on with Zach. This was the presentation midway through the afternoon, and getting the portrait. That's the 13 championships, the presentation, and then the jockeys gave them their own unique send-off as well.
There it is.
Yep. Yeah, it was
mini trampoline.
It was a great day to be involved in, actually, Andrew.
It was a really good feeling
it
down
did.
in the paddock in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was almost a little bit of business aside there for a moment, and then just realising and congratulating Douglas on the enormity of some of the things he's achieved, particularly those 13 consecutive victories in the Jockeys' Championship.
The jacket there had the 13 on the back of it, I think, as well, and there's a couple of those went into the crowds. That was after the last, of course, and stuck around for ages, signing autographs, taking pictures, says Douglas with his family. Nikki Shikara.
I think you got a bit of that champagne too, didn't you?
I did, yeah, it was quite nice.
Yeah, I could see you smelled a bit of it when you came back up.
Well, there you go, that was the end of an era for Douglas White, but he'll be back next season as a trainer. Look forward to that. Dylan Moe, Grant van Neerkerk and Joe Moreira fell foul of the stewards. That was the Raging Blitzkrieg. That was the Raging Storm incident, so we got a couple of days and 60,000 for that. Callan Murray. He'll be back this weekend. Callan's been out with his hip injury, but he's been cleared to ride, and Derek Young as well.
Yeah, that was from the New Year's race day, a couple there. So 5 jockeys suspended in the last 2 meetings.
All right. That brings us pretty much up to speed then as far as the weekend action is concerned. So we start looking ahead to Happy Valley, and an early start with the 9 races. We're on the turf B course, of course. On the turf. Class 4 1,000-metre dash is how we start. Headed by E-Master, runner-up behind Lakeshore Eagle. Last time out, Zach Pertner ride from barrier 5. My Dear, Martin Harley's first ride at Happy Valley. My Dear's been last on his both starts so far. Blade Racer and Frustrated are both here on debut. Super Fun from barrier 2. First start for Dennis Yip. Drops in the 14 down to the 1,000. And King's Heroism, Eddie Lai from barrier 6. So comes to Happy Valley for the first time. E-Master and My Dear have been up at Chung Fa. My Dear returning back. He's had a couple of trips up there in actual fact, but returned back on the 8th.
Yeah, some of his work's been all right too. He's been quite keen, so he could potentially be a little closer than he is in this speed map. Look Eris and Frustrated, one of the newcomers. Blade Racer's got pace. I actually think Blade Race has a chance of being in front of Frustrated in the early stages. Planet Nakoni and All Great Friends will be hunting through from a lower barrier, so the pace will be on in the first.
All Great Friends, his last win was off a rating of 70. He's now rated 53, and so he should get a nice run. He'll get his chance. He's getting on in age now. The age catches up to all of us. He's an 8-year-old, but from barrier 4 he should go nicely. And his work suggests he's still quite keen. He was pulling a bit. Here's one of the first starters, Blade Racer. Now, he did win a trial in New Zealand by 7 lengths when he got here, but it was on a very wet track, heavy track. This horse here is bred for the wet, so I wonder if they will run him on the all-weather at some stage. And Frustrated, the other one of the first starters, he's the one closest to us. He is a winner of an 800-metre trial and has run second in trials behind Multi-Million and Wishful Thinker. So pretty good trial form anyway coming to this.
All right, we'll come back and look at a couple of those in race action as well and at the trials. We'll start off, though, with E-Master. This was his last start. It was back at the end of November, finished behind Lakeshore Eagle. Yeah,
and this is all we've got to go on because he hasn't had a trial. He's had a lame right hind problem back in January, and then a lame left fore problem back in January as well, and then failed a vet's exam on that same issue. So he's going in a little bit, for me, probably potentially underdone without a trial in the race, but yeah, I guess he's interesting, isn't he, Casper and Zach joining up here?
He's got a really good fresh record, though. He's had 3 starts for 2 wins fresh up, so maybe that's what they're looking at, why they haven't really given him that trial. But he's going to come up short. He's 2.2 with a big weight.
All right, look here, it was down the straight last time out of the money. This is him finishing third, 2 starts back. Yeah,
he's a jump and run, as we know. He's never won this course in distance from 5 starts, but he's had 2 seconds and 2 thirds, so he's performed quite admirably without winning. The other one, Gift of Lifeline, I think he's just going to take a little bit more time. He's a nice enough horse, but he's yet to really find the line with any power.
Yeah, by Piero, I think they might go forward with him. In that speed map, they had him going back, but from barrier 3, wouldn't be surprised if they did go a bit forward with him.
All right, what about the two debutants here? Let's start off with Blade Racer, trialling here at the Valley and showing a bit of speed too.
Showed a lot of pace, Andrew. I think potentially he is a little chance of maybe being in front of Frustrated through the first half of the race. But you can just see here he was niggled at, and then a horse came from out of the pack and got very close to him. That horse in third position's best of luck. We've seen him a few times already. It's going to be interesting to see what he's got when the pressure goes in the last 300 metres, because he seemed to be just feeling it a little bit there.
Yeah, 4 trials he's had. He's 1,039, so he's not the biggest horse around.
All right, that's Blade Racer. Let's take a check on the other one, Caris Teton and Frustrated.
Caris, you start Wednesday night by riding Frustrated, a newcomer. You've ridden him in all of his trials. How's his preparation been?
Yeah, he's a nice little horse. He's been trialling very good, and I think he's ready for a run.
He's shown good speed in those trials?
Yeah, he's a straightforward horse. He do everything right. He's got lots of speed, and he's been to the Valley, so like I say, he's all ready.
And with that speed from gate 11, would you try to use that?
Yeah, we had not much option now. Of course, he's been there and he showed me some speed in the trial, so from that gate I'm pretty sure we have a straight line, so we're going to have to use it and use him a little bit, and let's hope he won't be too green under the light, and he can just focus a little bit more and have a finish.
On personal news for yourself, congratulations on your recent engagement. Certainly a happy start to the new year.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good start of the Chinese New Year, so I just hope I have a good year this year.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Congratulations to Caris there. But Frustrated, Paul, is that the way to go in the first here?
The newly engaged Caris Teton, not Frustrated. Yeah, got him on top, actually. I liked his trials. He's won an 800-metre trial and showed really good speed in that. And his last 2 trials behind Multi-Million and Wishful Thinker, who will start one of the favourites in the big race later on, were both very good. So we've got him on top to beat E-Master, who goes well fresh, as we mentioned. Look, Era's last win was off 59. He's rated 56. He's better over 1,200, but he had run well over the 1,000. And All Great Friends is so well rated, as we mentioned. 70 rated last win. He's on 53 now. 7, 1, 2 and 4.
Oh, I'm just going to let all that go. Go into something, but I won't. 9, 7, 2 and 4. I'm going with Super Fun. I'm going to make him the value runner. I thought his most recent work on the 6th and the 11th of February, both really sharp gallops. He is going now to Dennis Yip for the first time. He ran a reasonable race behind Pickin, over 1,400 metres, 1,000 here at the Valley. He'll jump, he'll scamper, he might not lead, he'll be there, and I think he can run a big race. So him over Frustrated, Look Eris, All Great Friends in for 4, 9, 7, 2 and 4. I could pick on both of you, really. 1
and 7, my cue. I'm going to throw the 12 in there, though, as well. King's Heresy. Actually stayed on OK down the straight last time.
Son of Moshi.
Happy Valley for the first time. So there's one at over 70 to 1. All right, that's the first race done and dusted. The feature race, so we've got 2 Class 1s in actual fact, coming up a little bit later on. Quick break, though, first, back right after this.